Is cyberspace streaming into your place? Of course it is, or you couldn't hear me right now. Sanctioned by the Red Light Racing League. From Hickory Motor Speedway, it's the Virtual Grip Network's live as it happens. 9th round coverage of the Skitter Creek SK Modified Series Season 14. I believe it's the 10th round there, Soup. For the 4th time in the series history, the Red Light Racing boys bring their fleet of modifieds to Hickory. You know, none of the drivers racing tonight have won here before. For those who suffer from SDS, the medical term being stout derangement syndrome, you may find relief in the knowledge that in T-Bot's only 2 previous modified races here at Hickory, the current points leader, best result was only a 4th. But that is in the past. When we look to the future of this series, the writing is on the wall. Scrolled for everyone to see in crayon are the words, Kid Lemon Lime. Yes, he only learned to tie his shoe this month, but that didn't stop Luke Logan Allen from picking up his first series win, doing it at Watkins Glen. A win is something his patriarch, Papa Kenny, has yet to achieve. So on the heels of young Luke's win, all but him come to Hickory focused not on racecraft, but rather haunted by the words of Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. So the question for you, the viewer, is tonight here at Hickory, will wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late they grieve it on its way, will they indeed go gentle into that good night? To find out, pull the lever on the Lazy Boy and settle in for the poetic excitement of the simulated short track racing action that is about to stream your way. A warm Tar Heel State hello and welcome on this Thursday night, August 7th, 2025. The institution, J.R. Shepherd, joins yours truly, Bill Soups on. Where? Well, high up in the VGM broadcast booth to do what? Bring you our Words Eye View replay. Ryan Senator turning the knobs and pushing the sliders. Folks, Sister Mary Catherine, my old geometry teacher, would be proud of me when I say the shape of this Hickory racetrack is an ovoid. Now for something more meaningful about tonight's racing, let's ask my booth mate here, JR. JR, what you got for the viewers?
Well, Soup, tonight I think it's going to be exciting. This place, just under 3/8 of a mile in length, and the track surface, it's very bumpy. These drivers are going to have to keep that in mind throughout the night. If you hit one of those bumps wrong, it is going to upset the car. It'll either make you push or get loose. But more importantly, it's going to open up an opportunity for your competitor to try to make a pass on you. The other thing we got to watch for tonight is that these SK Modifieds, we know that they are momentum race cars, and this track has a curved backstretch. And in some cases, you will see drivers try to cut that curved backstretch in order to gain an advantage and turn into turn 3 early to get to that driver that's on, to get to the inside, of the driver that is in front of them. And my experience, Soup, is that when this occurs, you will normally see contact that results in someone's night ending. But bottom line, Hickory, it's a tight bull ring. I expect to see some exciting and intense racing here tonight.
Oh, I cannot wait. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the points here. You know, you heard my partner talk about this being a momentum racetrack. Well, a guy with a lot of momentum was Eric Teapot Stout. He's the 2-time champion, defending champion, but he has not won in his last 2 races. How about Ethan the Mountain Troutman here, having a nice run, sitting in second position. Let me see if I can call up my points here quickly so I can run them down. Well, there you go. Hey, defending champ from season 10 is Jeff Aho. He's looking for his first win. Rob Higgins not getting enough screen time for as well as he's doing. He only has 1 podium. We'll try to give him a little more love today. Talk about a man who has wins. Chad Alcaraz has 2 of them. Rookie Bill Benedict has 1. Another rookie, Devin Visna, does not, but he picked up his first podium just a while back. We got to talk about him. The old veteran Granny Hips, Joshua Buckley, sitting down there in 8th position. And then we talked about the future of Red Light Racing. Here he comes, the young Luke Logan Allen, Kid Lemon Lime. He got the win last time out at Watkins Glen. Right out your top 10. Well, he loves to finish second. He hopes to get a win here pretty soon. It's Bradley Steffen. There you have your top 10. We should be good to go. Qualifying is done. Well, let me correct myself. There is no qualifying in a red light racing league. Yes, there is. Soup, you're not doing the bootleg racing league. You're doing red light racing league. Qualifying is indeed done, and the grid is set by qualifying the way it should be. And hey, look at this. How about former champion Jeff Aho sitting on pole? That could be the news he needs. This is with passing at a premium here. You want to be up front. Next to him is Chad Alcaraz.
Yeah, rolling off in P3 tonight will be Ethan Troutman. He's your second place in points. Josh Buckley, he'll roll off in fourth.
There's a Stout sitting in fifth, but not the one you thought it would be. It is rookie Patrick Stout, little brother of Teapot. Bill Benedict sits in sixth.
Rolling off inside of row 4, we got Ken Allen, that 49 car on the outside, and the 9 car, Alan Wanamaker.
Oh, he doesn't like Hickory, is Eric Stout. He's down in ninth. He's got his work cut out for him. Right behind him, like he's been so often, Bradley Steffen.
Rolling off in 11th place, now we've got Fred Leclerc in 12th place, Glenn Jamison.
In his Winn-Dixie 60 is Brian Neff. He's going to be flanked by Double Deuce Bruce Pearson.
Rolling off in 15th place will be Luke Logan Allen, last week's winner, and Devin Visnaw in 16th.
Lewis Wildflowers, Andy Lewis, Chris Oliver, Mike Chesheru, and Bob Higgins makes up the rest of the field. We got it in. We're going to get our bonus. They're coming around. You know what to do. Gather up the chicken steak, cover behind the cows because the horses are out of the barn. Season 10 champ, Jeff Aho, out in front. He's being chased by Chad Alcaraz. Settling into third position is Ethan the Mountain Troutman. First side-by-side battle. Working the outside is Granny Hits Josh Buckley. On the inside is the young stout Patrick.
Yeah, and right now these drivers, they're trying to fill their cars out. They do handle a little bit differently than what they did in qualifying. There is some rubber starting to build up on that track, and it's only going to get worse. The outside line, it's working right now, but that will start to go away as we get into this race.
100 laps and the Teapot Watch is underway. He now races in 7th position. Eric Stout comes across the line just ahead of Bill Benedict. They are single file all the way back. The first double wide is the number 89. That is Bradley Steffen, stuck on the outside. That's Alan Wanamaker inside of him. Whoa, Steffen gets a little bit of the wall.
Yeah, and you can see how that outside line works. It makes you want to put more wheel into it. You're having to really hustle the car more than that driver on the inside, and that's why Bradley, he is struggling right now, just trying to find some grip. But he knows he's got to make this work or he's going to continue to get past.
The number 71 of Fred, always there, Leclerc, right behind Wanamaker, leaving no gap for Steffen to find a hole. They are single file in front of them. There is some action for third, making a look in there. Oh, we got an accident. Oh, it's Wanamaker.
Yeah, Wanamaker right on the inside of Steffen that we were watching got loose coming off of turn 4 right there. We'll get a better view through the replay here. But yeah, these two had been racing really hard. They both wanted to clear one another, and there is a bump. You can't see it from that view, but there is a bump right at the time where Alan Wanamaker started to get loose. Talked about if you hit those bumps wrong, it can upset the car, and that's exactly what we saw there. And then you see Bruce Pearson coming in, trying to avoid it, but once you got on the brake, rear end came around on his car.
All right, let's see if I can put my director to work. Is it possible to find Fred Leclerc out there? I'll hunt through there, see. Fred Leclerc, it's Soup up here in the booth. You got a moment?
Yeah, I do.
Well, you know, we didn't think the outside line would work, but one way to go around them is if they spin away in front of you.
Yeah, I didn't want to go to the outside this early, start burning tires up.
When is it go time?
If you pit and get tires towards the end of the race, I want to be towards the front by lap 75 if we can.
All right, go get him, man. Go get him.
Thank you.
JR, 3/8 of a mile. Can you pit here and stay on the lead lap?
You can. You're going to have to be toward the front, and the thing is, I do not think in these SKs that you will be able to take 4 tires. So if you pit, you're going to be taking right sides only, and you're going to have to make sure that you do not take any fuel or you take very little fuel, because the fueling of these cars takes a long time and can put you a lap down.
All right, well, Jeff Aho up in front. To his outside, Chad Alcaraz. I would venture to say, and I will check the stats in a minute, but I will venture to say this might be the first time all season that Aho has led a lap. We'll double check that in a second. We'll put Simon and Poindexter to work and see if they can come with that. All right, we're going to go racing again, working lap number 12. Jeff, on the inside. Now he's got our cars pinned out there. Watch out for the number 26. That is Ethan the Mountain Troutman. He's a rookie, but he has a win already this season. He is very quick, and I'll be surprised if he leaves any room to let the 70 get down in front of him.
Yeah, definitely not at all. Ethan's going to work hard, but once you get on the outside of somebody and you get that far forward ahead that you see Chad O'Carra is doing right here, you have the advantage because that driver on the bottom does have to lift on corner exit a little bit to not push up into you. So Chad doing a fantastic job, and he's a driver that we know does great on tracks that are difficult to drive.
All right, so let's turn our attention to the first two-wide battle. It's Josh Buckley. He's on the inside, and he's got, oh boy, he must have heard the introduction where we gave Papa Kenny Allen a hard time. He is not going to go gentle into that good night, is Papa Kenny. He's racing right now. iRacing scores him in 5th, and he's going to make that outside line work if he can get down there in front of Granny Hips. Nope, not going to work. Josh Buckley fighting back.
Yeah, they're both fighting hard, and I love the side-by-side racing that we're getting right now, but you can see on our screen when we get the close-up shots in the corner, there is marbles that is starting to form on that outside. It was there from practice. It's only going to get worse throughout this race, and that outside will start to go away, particularly on corner exit in turns 2 and 4. The car will just push very badly into the wall if you get offline a little bit.
Great corner exit from the outside line for Kenny Allen. This is Cialis Bathtub Racing here. Very romantic. They've been side by side for a long time. They continue. Look at the good drive from 2 off there. Man, those guys have been in the tub so long, they're beginning to prune up. They got to get this figured out. They come across the line. We got a yellow. Oh, no, it's Kid Lemon Lime. Gets tagged a little bit from Lewis Wildflowers.
Yeah, definitely a couple of vehicles involved in this one. I think we see Chris Oliver there trying to get turned around on track.
Yeah, they checked up behind him, and I think getting the worst of it, Chris Oliver got some. Also getting very slow onto the inside was Mike Tesheru.
Yeah, definitely just a lot of checkups occurring there, and we talked about it multiple times. I know it's hard for those watching at home that have never driven these cars to understand, but the air cleaners are huge. You set very low in these cars. It's difficult to see what's happening up ahead of you, at least past the car that's ahead of you. So when somebody checks up, you don't always know what they're checking up for or even have the time to fully check up, and that's what we kind of saw with Alan Wanamaker coming in there a little bit late and getting into a few guys.
Okay, it's a short racetrack, but let's see if our director can dial up Teapot. Let's talk to Eric Stout. He's back in 7th position. Teapot, you got a second?
What's up, bud?
All right, you're working your way through the field. Can you get there?
Honestly, probably not. I think today is a, make chicken soup or make lemonade kind of day. I bungled qualifying a little bit. Just kind of, I don't know if I underdrove it or overdrove it, but it wasn't a great lap. So just try to survive here and just take my time and make the best of it.
All right, they're doubling up. You're on the inside. Go get them.
Thanks, Soup.
He is in a good spot. All right, let's turn our attention up front. Jeff Aho, Season 10 champ, looking to regain some of that. Now look at the outside run. I'm down. JR, if I'm on the outside line, from what I've been seeing, corner exit of 2 seems to be really good. Although out of side 4 also works very good for all cars, so he gets the wall.
Yeah, turn 2 is going to be your best spot to make that outside line work. When you get to turn 4, it kind of jutes back in. It turns back in as you come off that corner, so you've really got to have that car turned straight before you come off in order to not hit that wall. We see Chad just barely touch it right there, and that's the problem. So that's where it's kind of even once you get side-by-side early in the race here. You can run side-by-side for quite a while.
Oh, Alcaraz in the wall a lot. How can you have your pudding if you don't eat your meat? Shout out Alcaraz, getting to know the wall. All right, they got a sort up behind. Ethan the Mountain Troutman moves into 4th. Patrick Stout in 4th. Sorry, Troutman in 3rd. Our 2 wide battle again, right where we left off. Boy, they are just so romantic. It's Buckley on the inside and the older Allen on the outside.
Yeah, and you know, we've seen a lot of these drivers get trapped on the outside because that's where they've been having to start on the initial start and the restarts here. Those drivers, they're hoping that we get some green flag racing in here, because some of those guys that are stuck on the outside are known for coming through the field late. They take care of their stuff, but they've got to get some heat and temperature in those tires before they start to have that advantage, and so far we've just not had that many laps.
Oh, I'm telling you, Buckley is so far to the inside, and Allen's so far to the nose in the middle. Meanwhile, we're looking at that two-wide battle still up in front.
Yeah, these drivers, they're being very respectful with one another, and that's very, very cool to see from a league setting. They are racing hard. They intend to get that position from one another, but they're giving each other room, and that's where you get some really good broadcast quality races.
A little bit of the wall there for Kenny Allen. We should mention that his son, oh no, right back behind him, I thought going around. Oh my goodness, they do go around. That was a long time coming. It got Bill Benedict.
Yeah, Bill Benedict and Lewis Flowers involved in that one. I did see Benedict get a little bit sideways coming off of 4. I'm not sure what caused that initially. We'll get a look at the replay here. But yeah, so
go ahead. He got into Glenn Jameson.
Yeah, he did. So it's a little bit, he's checking up for Jameson that got loose. He hits that bump, pushes up the racetrack, and in return, Neff's right there behind him, who gets into his Nerf bar. And then Lewis is just trying to get slowed down. We saw this with Bruce Pearson early in the race. Just trying to get slowed down can cause your car to spin, a lot of times because of the rear braking that's involved trying to get this car to rotate.
All right, so it's caution number 3. Passing is really tough right now. You look for the guy who has made the biggest move. It is Mike Tasharu. He's racing back in 13th right now, up 7 spots from where he started. Well done.
Yeah, and that's a great point to touch on, because this is a tough racetrack to make passes, and a lot of it has to do with the character in the racetrack, the shape of the racetrack, the fact that it's a tight bull ring, but also those bumps. They really heed a driver from being able to make passes here.
Well, coming into this race, I was going to promise everybody we were going to give some more screen time to a guy that I thought deserved it was Rob Higgins, but Rob's a no-show tonight. Let's take a look at his dad, car number 43. It's always pretty to look at that 43, that petty machine there. Here's Bob Higgins. Up 4 spots. Well done. All right, they're doubling up. Will someone dare to make a pit stop and see what they can do? Boy, passing seems to be so difficult here. And if you can only get the 2 right sides, not sure if it's worth it. All right. Oh, my goodness. That is Patrick, that Ethan Troutman saying, let's go.
Oh, no.
Jeff Aho.
Going around, and that gets Buckley involved and Ken Allen. Ken Allen getting the worst. There's no caution out yet because he is off the racing surface, but Ken Allen definitely getting the worst of that. He was in a great position.
Kenny brings it back out, but the field has left him behind. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, then meanwhile, up front, they are racing hard for this lead. Chad Alcaraz on the outside of Aho. Alcaraz getting a little bit into the wall, but he knows he has to push hard. This is his best chance to try to make a pass, because if a caution comes out and he's slightly ahead, he gets that lead.
Boy, he had a run at it, but the outside of 4, he had no drive, and now it opens up an opportunity for Troutman to get in there. Troutman sits 2nd in the points, has a win this season, and is really poised to get another one here. He takes over 2nd.
And right now, Jeff Aho, he's just wanting to see clean racing behind him. He wants to be able to pull away from the rest of these drivers because it has been rough the last couple of seasons, but we do see side-by-side racing back here with Tasharu and Luke Logan.
Just ahead of him is Eric Troutman, who, boy, they are so tight there. Kid Lemon Lime on the outside gets a little bit of the wall out of 2. This battle is tough. Mike Cheshrew on the inside. More wall.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and Eric Stout, he's down on the apron. Something happened coming out of turn 4. He may have gotten loose or contact from behind, but he definitely is going to the back of the field on this. We'll watch the replay here. He gets his left sides down on that apron right about the time where that bump is in the middle of 3 and 4, and the car just came around on him. He did a super nice job to not hit that inside wall.
He just was not feeling it today. He was off pace. In fact, he was holding up the line behind him. Here they come at you 2 by 2.
Yeah, you can see from that shot, we saw Andrew Lewis and Fred Leclerc racing each other, and you talked about it a little bit earlier, Soup, how close they get in the corners. It's a risk versus reward situation. The closer you get to that inside car, the more grip you're going to have on the outside, but too much, and you will have contact that could ruin both of your night.
We ride on board with Double Deuce Bruce. Nowhere for him to go. And if that's the 2 cars in front of him isn't enough, there's 2 cars in front of them. Ahead of Pearson is the 71 of Fred Leclerc. And getting the wall, that's the 48 of Andy Lewis. Racing in the lows, number 48. Wonder who he's a fan of.
And I can tell you, Soup, we see multiple drivers, kind of getting into that wall, especially off of turn 4. These modifieds, they do push a little bit off the corner, but one thing that does happen at this place, Hickory's very bad at this in a long race. You get complacent, you get used to just turning laps, and you get relaxed. And when you get relaxed, that's when a slight bobble or slight mistake happens. You hit that bump wrong and you go up and hit that wall. It's something that these drivers really got to stay on top of the rest of this race.
Gio, I know you mentioned how you talked about it was so hard to pass here, but oh my goodness. I will tell you this. Hickory puts on a good show. Maybe the outside line doesn't prevail all the time, but there's good side-by-side racing.
Oh, there is, and I love tracks like this, tracks that have character, the old-style tracks, because they are bumpy, they are tough to get into the corner and out of the corner, and you've got to work on it. So the driver can make a big difference at a place like this, and you tend to see some unique racing lines, because that's how you get the passes done. You've got to do something different than those drivers around you.
All right, folks, let's look up front. Now, if you're not familiar with how this works, tire wear is so important here. Maybe not quite as much as if you're doing like a late model, but certainly it still plays a factor up here. You got to wonder if these guys up front, how fast they're going to be at the end of the race. I can just, by the way I'm looking at this one, Troutman is trying so hard to see if he can find any way around Aho.
Yeah, he's working hard, and he knows that at some point those tires are going to get enough temperature in them. They're going to go beyond that grip limit, and he's not going to have the turn he needs in the corner to try to set up a pass. So that's why he's working so hard now, because it will get worse throughout this run. But got to be a little bit conservative, because if you try too hard, it can cost you extra at the end of the run. Those drivers behind you will have the advantage, and it will be tough to hold on, because right there, turns 1 and 2, you have to hit the bottom of that track when you're single file. If you don't, that driver behind you will be able to make that pass down the backstretch.
So now they go 2 wide in a battle for third. Stefan on the inside. Alcaraz is going to lose that spot. He begins to fall. All right, I got to say it. First of all, I'm going to preface this by saying we love him. We are a fan of him here at BGN. But Brian Neff, in his Winn-Dixie 60, is up into 6th position, and he ran these guys down.
Yeah.
And, he knows what's going to happen.
Right, Soup, but I've said it before, so Neff is one of those drivers that when you come to a tough racetrack, he's all of a sudden able to find speed. He may not qualify well, but, he's picked up 7 spots in this race, and that's not been easy to do. It's a track that can reward aggressive driving, and he's somebody that loves to drive it hard through the corners, so it's paying off right now.
Stuck on the outside is Ethan Mountain. Troutman. Getting underneath him is Bradley Steffen. So Troutman now trying to see if he can get down in front of Alcaraz. Alcaraz already was up there. He's been falling back, but now he finds himself on the inside position. Patrick Stout being very patient back there, probably because he doesn't know the reputation of the 60 of Brian Neff. Neff looking for anywhere to go. They are slower in front of him. Neff is clearly faster. I watched him run him down from afar, and now he got to the tail. He would like to pick up a few more.
Yeah, and the one thing about Brian is, you know, some of these other drivers we watched, they're a little bit conservative. They're making sure that they make high percentage passes. Neff's going to take every run he can get. If he gets a run on you, he's going to go for it. So these drivers, they need to be aware of that because they could get themselves in an awkward position.
With that said, out of the tip of the hat to Bradley Steffen, up 8 spots. He is just so hungry for a win. He's just getting... If I had a nickel for every time he's finished second, I'd have a lot of nickels.
Yeah, and I mean, he's had a pretty good season. He's just not had the season that he wants so far. Not very good in the points, but he runs on average around 7th place in these races, and that's hard to do with all the action that we have throughout the season. So he has won before in this league. He wants to get some more wins. He's going to fight Jeff Aho very hard here in the closing laps.
We ride on board with Bradley Steffen. He has plenty of time to make the move. Look, you may never get to see Bigfoot. You may never get to see the Loch Ness Monster, but let me show you something equally as rare. Can we put the camera on car number 12, Eric Stout in 19th position. Eric Stout in 19th and struggling. All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah, and you know, it's tough. So every driver's going to have an off night. Without a doubt, that is definitely an off night for Eric. But like he said, even though it's a bad run for him, he's out here continuing to turn those laps. He knows that every single point will make a difference, and that's a lesson for the rest of these drivers. Do not give up when you're having one of those very bad off nights.
Boy, the action, while it is exciting up front, this is where the action is. Fred Leclerc out in front, stuck on the outside is Cheshire. He's making a run. Bruce Pearson gets a little bit of a bump. Let's go, says Alan Wanamaker. They know each other very well. They've raced together a lot. Back there also in the mix is the rookie Devin Visna. Oh my, this is a yellow flag that is cooking up in the pot. It won't be long till Mama's dishing it up.
Yeah, and so you can tell how aggressive it's been back here because almost all of those drivers have the front Nerf bar bent. So there's been a lot of contact, a lot of action happening.
Oh, I got one eye on this and one eye up front, but this is where the action is right now. It looks like Pearson's going to get the best of it. Driving away from it, thankfully, is Fred, always there, Leclerc. That's a there that he doesn't want to be part of.
Yeah, and right there we see Bruce. He's inching forward. He's trying to get there, but his best opportunity is to be more than halfway past Tasharu going down the backstretch, and then he can actually shortcut going into turn 3 and do almost a slide job. That's almost what you have to do here at Hickory in order to make those passes.
Don't need to go there because this is so exciting. I'll just update you that Brian Neff did get around Patrick Stout. He's now into the top 5. He's a-coming. Get settled out here, boys. Single file this thing. Nope, tuck it in there. They just cannot get a single file because one guy loses momentum, the other guy tucks in.
Yeah, and I will give props to iRacing for this model, the track model, the way that the tires are wearing, because you see tons of rubber building up on that top side, but there is still 2 lanes of track that are usable. So it has not come down into that second lane right now, and that's providing some exciting racing, especially late in this race. That's when the cars are really starting to change their handling characteristics, and drivers are having to move around and make something happen.
Quickly, let's drop back. Take a look at the 49 of Ken Allen. He's in 16th position right now. Right behind him is 17th. Is his son, Luke Logan Allen. Oh, the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you gonna win, Dad? I don't know when, but we'll get together then, says Luke Logan Allen. Hey, back there in the mix. That's the 43 of Bob Allen coming in there. Good racing here. We are working lap number 82. Just 18 more to go. If there were a yellow, would you come in and get tires?
Yeah, if I'm up front, I'm definitely not. But, if I'm one of those guys in the back, I may think about it like Ken, because we know the position he got put in with that spin during one of the restarts, losing all that track position. I think I would try it, but being that far back and pitting, always a chance you're going to go a lap down. So that would be super tough. But at this point, it's almost, he doesn't have much to lose.
Coming at you, great camera. Look at the different racing lines that everyone's taking 2 by 2. Looks like animals trying to get on the arc.
Yeah, and you're going to start to see, we saw Visnall do it right there through 1 and 2. Some of these drivers that have been running the bottom while side by side with another driver, they're starting to get tighter and tighter. That right front's getting harder and harder because the steering input up off the corner. So they're starting to put their left side, you see it right there, on the apron, just barely touching that apron. That will help these SK Modifieds rotate through the center of the corner.
Great racing going on. There's just so many places to watch. Let's talk about your big mover. 9 spots for Andy Lewis. We have not talked much about him. Out there in the 48 Lowe's machine. Racing all by himself right now.
Yeah, we continue to watch this here. Ken Allen, I mean, since that spin where we did not have a caution, so that's another thing that everybody needs to keep in mind. We did not have a caution for him to help get caught back up, so he's had to chase these drivers down, and he's been coming through this field. It could have been a huge night for Ken Allen if that mistake, whoever it was that caused it, didn't happen to him there on that restart.
That's his son on the outside, Luke Logan, trying to make it work. Boy, he's working hard out there. He's got the 52 on the inside of Chris Oliver. I think the outside line's going to prevail. Meanwhile, his dad is stuck on the inside. The outside line may work again for Teshru. This is a great track. I'm just enjoying this.
It's great. It does tend to lead to some contact there. We saw Bruce Pearson having some contact while he was racing Fred Leclerc. It's starting to get tight. The longer you stay side by side, the more difficult it gets to maintain your racing line. And especially for that inside driver, you will continue to push up further and further.
We got to go up front because we got drama. All of a sudden, Jeff Aho, who has had it all his own way. Well, this battle we are watching, guess who's joining it? Oh my goodness, Aho gets very loose. That's going to open the door for Bradley Stephan to try the outside. Not going to work. There is nowhere for the 21 of Aho to put this car, and the competition is coming because the lap cars are fighting so hard. He is in the hornet's nest.
He absolutely is, and his best thing that he can do right now is to stay on that inside. He's trying desperately to get to the inside of Visnall, but he has to do it because here comes Stephan. Stephan's going to try to get to the inside. I'm afraid if you go that outside line, it would normally work, but you've got drivers stacked up slower in front of you here, so I think the inside is where you have to go.
The closing rate that Aho has into the corners, and now he drifts wide up out of 2. There's no room for him to come down, but he does anyway. He tries to get down in front of Kid 11 line. They go too wide. He almost got into Stephan. Great job from Bradley Stephan to give him room.
Yeah, great by Brad to be able to, and there's a big wreck off of turn 4. I just saw it. Neff is around. I saw Buckley involved in it. Drivers trying to get turned around still, so these leaders are going to come up on this pretty quick here. Eric Stout's also around.
They do come up on it. They tiptoe their way through it. And that caution flag is a godsend to Jeff Aho as it takes the hornet's nest and takes it all the way around the track. He doesn't have to deal with it anymore. Bradley Stephan might have had his best chance to make the pass there. Looks like Kid Lemon Lime is going to get stuck a lap down as he was checking up from all that incidents. We'll get it all sorted out. This may take a while. We are on lap number 99, so I guess we're going to have ourselves a green-white checker.
Most definitely. We'll have at least one green-white checker. They do up to 3 here, but we see from this replay, Eric Stout up ahead. We saw from on board with Aho how tough it was getting into turn 3. You see Stout just getting loose on corner entry. There is kind of a wavy bump, a real light wavy bump on corner entry, but if your car's loose, this is something that can happen. So these drivers, they've been fighting that condition late in the race, and it finally got Eric Stout, and in return, everybody just checking up behind. We see Neff, Patrick Stout, Josh Buckley, he was involved in it. Bill Benedict was able to miss it there, and I believe that's Jameson in the other car. So, yeah, several drivers being involved late here.
My mama told me you can only dance the tango in a china shop so long before you're going to break a tea set. I thought we did pretty good there. We almost got through the entire dance. Well, We are on lap number 101. Jeff Aho has led 98 of them.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for Jeff here, Soup, on the last restart. I know he's in the preferred lane, but Bradley, I can guarantee you, is going to send it on the outside in turns 1 and 2. And if he gets the advantage onto that backstretch, he has a good shot of holding off Aho for the lead here.
An important rule dynamic, they go on the waving of the flag. And they go pretty good start from each. A little bit of advantage to the inside there is Stealth. They go into 1 and 2. Watch the outside line work. It's always been better out of 2, and it is so far again. Stefan keeps it off the wall. Now they go in through 3 and 4. We are almost done. They come across the line. Who's going to get credit with leading? It's the outside of Stefan. Uh-oh, Jeff, you are in trouble. My partner knew it. They bump, they hit. Now Stefan gets an advantage. It's slipping away from Aho, but the momentum out of 4. They're using their Flintstone feet, and Jeff Aho gets the win. Oh, sweet sassy Balassi, Bradley Stefan. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Second position again. Chad Alcaraz will get third.
That was tight, very aggressive, but yet clean racing from the drivers up front. That's as aggressive as you can be without creating a mess, creating a wreck. So very hard fought battle, great to watch.
Stefan had him on the first of the green-white checker. He had him on the white. But when he came to the green, it was Jeff Aho, season 10 champ. Pick up his first win of the season. He sits third in points. And with the disastrous result from Eric Stout, watch out, he's going to gain a lot. You want to stick with us for the rest of the season. You want to stick with us through the break. We'll come back in just a few minutes to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Don't go far. You're watching the Virtual Grip Network. Welcome back to Hickory Motor Speedway and the Virtual Grip Network's live as it happens 10th round coverage of the Skitter Creek SK Modified Series Season 14. You know, we say live as it happens. We're going to take a second to turn back the clock here and take a look at those last 2 laps again. JR, tell me what you think here about these last 2. This is pretty darn exciting. There it is, the pace car, and they're going to go green right now for the green-white check.
Yeah, definitely an exciting finish to this one. So this is the pace car bringing them back around for the green. Like you said during the broadcast, these drivers, they have to wait until they see that green flag come out before they can accelerate. So definitely Aho got the jump being that inside car, and it looked like he was going to have a lot of momentum into 1, but Stefan was able to just carry that speed in. And we talked about it earlier, once that driver on the outside gets that far ahead, The inside driver really has to lift a little bit, and Stefan had a perfect line coming out of 4 to take the white flag. He had the lead at that point. He was able to hold on to it coming off of 2. There was contact that got both of them loose and actually gave Stefan the advantage, but he gave Aho some room into turn 3 and ultimately put him in a bad spot to where he just did not have the turn through 3 and 4. Aho made a little bit of contact, but gave plenty of room to the 89 on corner exit. And Aho, that was just, I'm not going to lose this race. I don't know how he gained that much time through turns 3 and 4, but that's what you do at the end of a race when you want to go get a win.
You know, watching that replay, I was surprised that Stefan didn't get the win, and I know who actually won, but it looks like Stefan had it. Jeff Aho with a great comeback to steal that one. Let's go ahead and run down the entire finishing order for you. You just saw how they finished 1-2. Jeff Aho, Bradley, Stefan. Chad Alcaraz race up front the whole time. He'll take 3rd. Ethan Mountain-Troutman the same. He gets 4th. Josh Buckley and rookie Glenn Jameson go 5 and 6. Patrick Stout has a nice finish. Andy Lewis has a great run up so many positions. Started in 18th, finishes in 8th. Well done, Andy. Alan Wanamaker had an incident, but he was able to salvage that, get a 9th place finish. And Double Deuce Bruce Pearson will round out your top 10. JR?
Now we get to the exciting part. So these are drivers that had some misfortune. Brian Neff, we saw him in that late race incident. He'll come home in 11th. Ken Allen having that spin with no caution coming out. He was still able to fight back and get a 12th place finish. Fred Leclerc will come home in 13th place. Chris Oliver, 14th place. Luke Logan winning last week, but racing's a humbling sport. I know about it. It hurts. He comes home in 15th. Devin Visnaw, he'll come home in 16th place tonight. Mike Tasharu, he was involved in some accidents late, comes home in 17th place. First car 1 lap down will be Bob Higgins tonight in 18th, and Eric Stout having an uncharacteristically rough night. He comes home in 19th. Bill Benedict will come home in 20th, and Lewis Flowers will round out the field in 21st.
With that said, let's go ahead and talk to our winner. It is Jeff Aho. Jeff, we stayed away from you on the interview. We didn't want to jinx you. I'll be honest with you. I thought it slipped away from you on that the very last lap. I thought it slipped away.
I thought I did too. I thought I was just going to run to the end. I saw the lap traffic, and then I'm trying looking at people in front of me, watch Stefan in my rear view, 6 cars in front of me, Stefan in my rear view, and then it unfolded where I wasn't sure what to go and do. I just thought I can't lay back and let Stefan pass me, so I just took a chance, and he was courteous enough to back off. And I mean, bad racing on my part, but I had to go, and there's only 3 laps to left or whatever it was, you know.
Yeah. So, were you happy? Were you happy with the green-white checker, or would you have rather have tried to fight it out in the lap traffic?
That's an excellent question. I don't know. I mean, I could have just held the bottom and kept my car down there, but the way it ended with him and I on the, 1 and 2, and I liked the way it ended because I was really getting on the brakes early, and then I just floored it really early in 3 and just spun it all the way out into the checkered flag. So it was an exciting finish for sure. I thought it was a great ending.
He was first to the white.
He was really? I saw. Yeah, wow. Oh, man. Well, hats off to him. I mean, he ran good coming out of, 2. I had nothing. And then I saw him, and I was like, I got to send it, and I don't care how it goes. I'm going for it without obviously wrecking us, Man, that was a tough battle. That was fun, though.
It was indeed. I thought the track put on a good show. You like this place?
I think, well, last time I was here, I think I pitted and came out poor and then finished even worse than that. And I think that's where you gave me my moniker of Uh-oh Aho. So since I won one, you have to change that.
Well, we'll see. We'll work on it. Might take more than 1 win. Well done, buddy. Way to go.
Okay, next week I'll try harder and get rid of that moniker. Thank you very much, Soup.
All right, man. Congratulations. Former champion Jeff Aho gets the win, sits 3rd in the points. Look for him to be a lot closer when we go to round number 11 next time. JR, who you got?
I'm with Bradley Stefan. Bradley, man, congratulations on that 2nd place run. I know tonight was tough. The racetrack was tough, but you're one of the few drivers that made some big passes. You came from 10th place. Walk us through that final restart. I mean, the caution came out late. You guys caught some lap traffic that could have benefited you, but then you got that one chance on that last restart, and it almost paid off.
Guess who's back? Back again. In the booth. What's up, JR and Soup? Yeah, no, it feels great to be back up here. Me and Aho there, yeah, he was really fast too. Last restart there, I had him. I knew he was going to send it into 3. You know, I saw his car drifting up my my peripherals, and it's like, yeah, we'll just take second again. We're having a good night, but it was fun. I love Hickory. I know how to just hit that throttle properly, save the tires. This is one of the tracks where I burned my stuff off and I regretted it. I learned how to drive this place, and man, it's like Landon Huffman. It's his favorite track, and it's becoming my favorite. It was a blast tonight. Had a lot of fun. I do feel bad about early in the race. I had a decent run side by side with Buckley. Patrick Stout was in front of me, just barely grazed him, just a little too much steam, and he kind of got a little sideways, I guess, got in Buckley. There was no caution somehow, but if there was, I would have took that EOL and went back to the field, but I get this the way it played out tonight. Glad to be up here.
Well, I was going to say, like, you talked about how tough this place is to drive, but it's fun, in my opinion. I don't know if you share that or not, but being a very tough racetrack where you got to take care of the tires, it really comes into the driver's hands. It's kind of fun to get out there and experience that and then be one of those fast drivers at the end. And I think you've got some huge momentum on your side. So you came into this race, I'm looking 10th in points. We know it's been a weird season. You've been in a lot of accidents that haven't been of your doing. That's cost you. But now that you've had this kind of run, I mean, you're going to leapfrog a lot of drivers that are ahead of you in points tonight because they had bad nights. Does this get you momentum going into that second half of the season here?
Yeah, that's really good to know. You guys always talk about points, and the past couple weeks, like I said, I've had a horrible season for the first couple races. It's been a struggle. I have yet to click the points page on the Discord to see where I'm at. I don't want to know. Maybe after tonight I do want to know, but you just kind of said that. I'm excited. I got to look at the rest of the schedule, see what we have going on. I feel like, you know, well, I'm on a good run, obviously. You know, don't get me wrong, this feels great. It could change, you know, next week, who knows, but definitely want to keep this momentum up, see where we can get, and just hope for the best. But yeah, I just lost train of thought.
Oh, you're good. Let me get you out of here on this one. So, talking about moving forward and into next week. Next week, you guys go to Irwindale. What are your thoughts there? You do have to run the full 100 laps at that racetrack. It's a track that can be a little tricky in these cars. What do you think?
No, that's a place I don't run very often, Irwindale. And when I say that because I don't run them places very often. I don't like them, but at the same time, those are the tracks I do well at for some weird reason. I don't know why. I don't like this place. Also, I'm gonna come out there and be talking to you guys again. It's like, what happened? But I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna put myself in harm's way there because I probably should do a little practice, see where the lines are at. But I mean, I'm familiar with it. I just don't like the place. Like I said, who knows? I may come out a winner. Never know.
That's right. Go work on it this week, and maybe we'll get to talk to you again next week, man.
Thank you, sir. I'll try to keep up the good work on my part, and hopefully talk to you guys next week.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan. That's Bradley Steffen, guys, our second place finisher here tonight at Hickory. With that, Soup, who you got?
You know, I have two dreams in life. One is in the future to be judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. And two, as the lead commentator who interviews the winner, to one day get to interview Bradley Steffen as a winner. With that said, I do get to interview the third place finisher, and that tonight is Chad Alcaraz, who's having a great run. Chad, well done. You were up front the whole time.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise. I didn't get much practice, but I was able to go in. The setup felt pretty good, and I love a slippery track, so it was a lot of work with the wheels. So a lot of fun running with those guys. But tips of the hat to Jeff Aho. What a run. He was starting the inside each time. I could get around the outside, but he was doing a great job of holding me off. And then Brad just coming through the field and just blowing by me. Those two were definitely the class of the field, and I was just lucky to be hanging with them there at the end.
You led 2 laps, and I was worried about you a few times there. You were stuck on the outside, but you were able to get down, sometimes starting up front, able to get down into second every time, didn't get caught outside. Fell back a little bit and then picked up a spot there at the end.
Yeah, Hickory kind of feels like it's got 2 grooves. The low groove kind of, if you're stuck on the low side, you don't get as good as run off the corner, and if you're stuck on the high side, you can kind of almost right around the high side, and then kind of get a good grip off the corner. But it only works, I think, for about 2 or 3 laps. If you notice, I would try and do that to Jeff, and he'd hold me off after a while. You keep doing that, and you're going to keep backing up towards the rest of the field. And so after a while, I'm like, I got to give this up and try and pass him a different way. Otherwise, Troutman, the other guys behind me would have caught us. Stefan did, but he would have caught us anyway. So yeah, it was kind of offensive plus defensive running that outside line.
Let me ask you a question. When you're stuck out there, and I'm going to ask this because I'm not this good of a driver to be able to do this. Are you able to look back to see if there is an opening behind the guy you're fighting with and maybe lift and tuck down in there? Or is that you just hope it's there when you lose the spot?
Nah, sometimes a place like this, you can't see it. The track opens up so much coming off of turn 2 that you can kind of get a good view, like in the if you're using the relative mirror, like the virtual mirror, not the real mirror. You can kind of see them kind of laying back and see a gap there. And if you see on the relative, sometimes you'll see it drop to 0.1, 0.2, and then know that they're going to have a hard time getting off that corner. You're going to get a good run, so you can come over and then get a good run into 3 and 4. So a lot of the times, holding them off coming out of 1 and 2. Holding them off coming out of 3 and 4, that was tougher because that corner kind of really cuts on you when you're on the outside line. And so when I was on the outside, that was actually when I lost the lead. If I had the lead on the outside, because in the inside car can then cut the corner, I'm worried about dragging the wall, and then they'll pass me. So, that's great. I led 2 laps. I didn't even know. So I'm happy that happened.
Yeah, exactly what my
I got a point. Let's go.
Well done. All right, man. We'll see you down the road. Congratulations.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, Chad Alcar is your winner. Good stuff on the interview. I like to learn a little bit there, and it's funny. So often what the drivers will say is exactly what my partner says up here in the booth earlier on in the race. All right, I hope you liked tonight. I had a fun time doing it. When are we going to do this again? Well, our director's going to put the screen right up there. We got North Willboro, Watkins Glen. Oh, that's a good one. That's a road course. You want to go there, see that one. Irwindale, I'm disappointed because they're not running the figure 8. One day I'm going to get that. And then Atlanta Motor Speedway. You know, Atlanta is Atlanta. With that said, all those races, the ones in the future, the ones in the past, all a production of the Virtual Grip Network. Let's show a picture of all the people who make this possible. On their behalf, we hope you enjoyed it. If not, we'll try to do better next time. With that said, have fun storming the castle.